we're now looking at midfield signings potentially. Now, in my opinion, we need one, regardless of Paul Pogba's future.
Yeah.
And that one would be a number 6.
Yeah.
I guess you all agree with me.
Yeah, I think we've been saying it since the start of last season, haven't we?
Yeah.
That we think that's...
And that's the most important next signing, yeah?
The question is do you go in with a ready-made number 6, like a Locatelli or...
Ndidi.
Or Ndidi will be so expensive, though.
Yeah.
Or do you get a Camavinga who can be a number 6 and you have a season or two where he needs to get to top class level?
Well, that's the one, and that's what we're going to discuss. So, I just want you lot's opinions on who do you think we should go for next. You've mentioned Locatelli a few times. He has been linked with Arsenal, although I'm sure if we wanted to get him, we could go in there and make something happen. Eduardo Camavinga's been linked with us. He's also been linked with Real Madrid, PSG. Declan Rice has been linked with us.
The thing is,
there's a number of players that have been linked with us. So if we're going to go in for this midfielder next, who do you want to see United target? Saul is another one.
I don't want to see United spend 75 million quid on a defensive mid because I just don't think that that's good business. So for me, that gets rid
Why
of
would you say that, though? Just based off the position? Because surely it's based off the player, right?
So no defensive mid has ever gone for 75 million quid.
But
so it kind of suggests you can get top class players in that position without having to spend
But
that.
let's say a Kante was available now.
Yeah.
A Makelele in his prime, you're paying 70 million quid.
Yeah, but when Kante went to Chelsea,
he was 40 million. But but if that was now, it's 70 million. It's 80 million.
But, I mean, I would say that the difference between Declan Rice and Locatelli is not... So Locatelli can go for 35 million, apparently. It's not 35 million quid's worth of difference.
Or more.
Between those players.
Yeah.
So for me, it makes more difference. I think you could get Ndidi for less than 70 million quid. In fact, I'm almost certain you could. That, for me, is a better signing than Declan Rice. I'm not saying Declan Rice is a bad player. I'm just saying that there's an English price tag and we'd be paying that. For me personally, I would love to see Camavinga at United. He's not the finished product yet, but he's incredibly talented and can be a world-class number 6.
Yeah. I agree with that because one of the things as well is that at where is he at the moment? Lille or wherever he is at the minute. Rennes, sorry. At Rennes at the minute. He's their best player, bar none. So he is entitled to do more going further forward. At Manchester United, he wouldn't be needed to go further forward. He wouldn't be needed to go and get involved in all that. Yes, it would be nice for him to do that, but he could focus on just being a number 6, and that's where I think he would then start to improve in that
What's
position.
interesting is that he's such a talented young player that he's playing as a 6 and an 8 and a 10 sometimes because he's got such a crazy array of skills that he can do all of those things. Now, he's at the point in his career, or he's going to get to the point in his career, where he's going to need to start to specialise. And I feel like you do that at United by making him a number 6. He's got the tackling... he's got the tackling ability. He's definitely got the athleticism.
He's a sensational tackler, isn't he? It's his blocks and interceptions that are quite low, I think, compared to what you would call a traditional number 6. I know he hasn't been playing there, like I said, but tackling-wise, he's right up there. He's brilliant.
Sure, but I mean, it's not as easy as to say, well, his blocks and interceptions are low, because I wonder, I mean, I don't know, but it depends on what style of football Rennes play.
Definitely.
Because if Rennes play football with quite a lot of possession and they put a lot of emphasis on winning the ball back quickly, then naturally your tackles are going to be high to reflect that style of play, as opposed to your blocks and interceptions, which are going to be higher when the other team has the ball more. So you don't know whether or not that's something that's symptomatic of the player and something he needs to improve upon, or whether or not it's something that's symptomatic of the role that he plays and the way that the team play. I think, from what I've heard, he wants to go to PSG.
That's a problem, isn't it?
If PSG sign Pogba, they ain't going anywhere near Camavinga. And also as well, if you're Camavinga, you can say, listen, you probably got 2 moves in your career. You can either go to United, where you will fucking play because you'll be the only number 6 we have, or you can go to PSG, where you will be behind. Is that in?
Sorry, we just got a message in the WhatsApp chat, and I know we're talking about midfield now, so it's relevant.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it in a minute. And this is mad how much people put into Instagram stories and things like that. But Pogba's posted a picture of him speaking to Raphael Varane on FaceTime with the eyes emoji. Is he hinting at them two being together? Who knows? But let's carry on talking about this holding midfielder thing before we move on from
that. The thing with Camavinga is, and I'm not comparing the two quality-wise, but just as we've mentioned before, we've got Donny, we've got Fred, we've got McTominay, we've got, those four in particular, who are all really not defensive midfielders.
They're all eights.
Yeah. Are we not maybe just doing the same thing by getting Camavinga in? Who is like, we can try and sculpt him into being this specialist number 6, but maybe he's never going to be that.
No,
maybe
because
he
that's
doesn't
what
want to
he
do
is
that.
good at.
Yeah, but he's also good at loads of other things. His dribbling's exceptional. He's great at bringing the ball forward. His passing's good. So maybe we can turn him into that.
But he is a 6 as well as he can play in either of those positions.
Yeah, but do we not want someone who?
You're saying is he a specialist?
Yeah.
At the age that he's at, he can become a specialist in that.
Yeah, but can he?
And that's what I'm saying. Yes, he can, because those are the abilities he has. In fact, when you hear some of the coaches that are quite close to him speak about him, they think he will become a number 6 eventually for a top team. It was like what I said, though, because he's playing for Rennes, he can go further forward and do, because he's needed to go and do that. At Manchester United, he would be told, come and sit here. And imagine talking about Raphael Varane, him just sitting behind him and being able to get in his ear.
But back to the point I was making then. So let's say we say to him, sit there, you're protecting the defence, you're bringing the ball from the defence to the rest of the midfield and advancing play that way.
Yeah.
What if we find out he's actually not that good at doing that? And now he's costing us games here and there.
That's the risk with a younger player, regardless.
But that's what I'm saying. So is it worth that risk for next season? Cavani's last year.
When you hear the price,
we don't know what's going to go. I'm not saying don't get him. I'm saying, do we feel confident in bringing him in and playing as our number 6 next year in a 4-3-3? Do we feel confident in doing that with him now? Because Cavani's contract runs out at the end of the season. Pogba's contract runs out at the end of the season. We don't know who we're going to get to replace either of those people.
Well,
feasibly, our squad could be worse in 12 months' time than it is now.
Well, what I would say is that if Pogba doesn't renew his contract and Pogba goes, and we find that Camavinga is better as a number 8 than a number 6, then he replaces Pogba rather than becomes our number 6.
Yeah, but then we still need a number 6.
I'm
not saying don't get him.
A number 6 is cheaper. Is a cheaper replacement than a Pogba replacement. Now,
but that's the issue you're going to have, though, isn't it? With Camavinga, is generally he might not be ready right now.
It's the reason. It's the reason that you're paying £25 million for him rather than 75.
No, I agree with that
because it's a gamble. He's in the last year of his contract, and it's a gamble.
But I do think that
it's a bad deal, by the way.
What, sorry?
I do think that 25 million is a bargain.
Oh yeah,
and I think any other transfer window, you're spending double, triple.
Yes, if you
on
can,
that. And I get this feeling. You two should remember, because similar ages and that. Remember when SEM moved?
Yes,
it feels important like that. Like you're getting a man that is going to be there for. I remember being gutted when SEM went Chelsea, thinking
he was so good.
We've missed out on someone here.
Yeah,
and I feel Camavinga is of that ilk.
If you have, it should go without saying, if you have the chance to pick up one of the best young players in the world, fuck me, what are they doing? One of the best young players in the world for 25 million quid, you should do it. Regardless of whether or not you need somebody in that position or not, you should do it.
Right, let's look at some of the other
options. I agree with that, by the way. I'm not saying don't sign him. I'm saying, is he the number 6 that we need? Cool. I'm not sure.
Would he be your first choice?
It wouldn't be my first choice, no. He'd be like a sort of no-brain yes get him, but he wouldn't be my first choice.
Freddie?
My first choice,
before we move on to some of the other options?
Yes, he'd be my first choice.
Same, because pound for pound, I think the upturn on that, and I think especially if we keep Pogba and have Varane behind him, I wouldn't worry too much.
Because bear in mind as well, Saul Niguez is not he's not a ready-made out-and-out number 6.
No.
So it doesn't make sense to write Camavinga off for that reason, but then to lean into Saul.
Right, let's talk about some of the other options. Before we do that, Tony Barry says Camavinga is basically too good to let go anywhere else. There's been a few other players that have come up. Ruben Neves, Leon Goretzka has been someone that's spoken about.
Goretzka is doing what fucking every Bayern Munich player since Thomas Muller has done.
Yeah.
I might move to Manchester United if you don't give me bigger contract. Fuck off. ridiculous.
Absolute bullshit.
I can't believe that they still fall for that. Do not use to go to Manchester. We will miss you loads. Here is £400,000 a week, yeah? No. It's bollocks. He's not going anywhere.
I don't think anyone's buying that one.
No,
surely not. Even buying or buying
Ruben Neves, I think he's a good option for 35 million quid. I think so.
Would you get? I wouldn't even mind Neves and Camavinga.
Oh,
if Pogba left.
But then you're looking at how many midfielders we've got.
Well, Matic and Pogba probably would leave in that case, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, but we've already got too many, haven't we? Yeah, realistically.
See, for me, I know we've not been linked with him that much, but like I said before, Ndidi would be my first choice. Because I agree with what you're saying about Saul. I don't know that he can do that job by himself either. I don't know that he's quite defensive enough to do that. I'm not saying he can't, but Ndidi, I know he can.
I think with Saul, though, I think you're guaranteed to get that work ethic from him, his tackling ability. I know he's more of an all-round midfielder, but I do think you get that from him. And I think he is strong into ball. And he's played for Diego Simeone for a long time, who prides himself on a team that's defensively drilled. But then that could also be covering up for any inefficiencies he has.
Simeone's pushing him out the door now, which is why...
But isn't that because they need the money, though? And they've just won the league. So they probably feel like he's achieved that now.
They've just signed DePaul, haven't they? The Argentinian dude as a replacement. But the thing is...
And they're also trying to get Griezmann.
All of this depends on price. Because if you're saying to me we need a centre defensive midfielder, if you're saying that you can get Neves or Bissouma or Locatelli for 30 million quid, then I prefer that over spending 70 million on Rice or 60 million on Ndidi, because I don't think there's 30 million quid's worth of difference between those players.
But the thing is, though, is there 3 points difference, 2-3 points difference over a season that might be the difference between us finishing? You know, you couple that with the 2 or 3 points that Sancho will bring us, the 2 or 3 points Varane will bring us, the 2 or 3 points that Ndidi might bring you over, Camavinga this season. That could be a league title.
But we can't lash 70 million quid on every single position.
No, I agree with that as well. But that's what City did. Well, they just spent 50 on everything, didn't they?
Oh no!
Everyone cost 50 million.
No, it's because Guardiola's a great manager. Let's never forget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not the fact that they've got 20 players who cost 50 million quid each. Yeah, exactly.
Get me Harry Kane and Jack Grealish.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking
nonsense.
If that's
going to happen. That's my only worry, and I don't know. I'm not saying, like I said, I would still get Camavinga for 30 million quid. It's basically just worth a roll of the dice on that because he's such a talented prospect. But I just think, is he going to be the difference between us winning the league and next year and not?
But
I'm not
players
sure.
like that hold their value spectacularly well as well. So, for example, look at somebody like Renato Sanchez, who was bought for 30 million quid, who was basically total dog shit for 3 years, and then at Lille was like, I guess I should probably start being good again now. He still held his 30 million quid value, even after doing nothing for you. At Swansea, I don't think I've ever seen a player more disinterested. Yeah. So these players, they're not really gambles because they hold their value, and their resale is always there.
Yeah, I know. I meant more of a gamble in terms of
not
costing us points, rather than costing us money.
Well, Nathan Rattray's jumped into the debate. And he said, "Listen, Declan Rice is the one. Everyone knows it. It's just way too much, but we do need him."
What do you make of that?
But the price apparently has gone down to around 60 million.
Well, look, the thing is it all depends on price. I think, well...
The price is Rice, is that what you're trying to say?
There's no thinking about it. It's true that English players get a big old English tax slapped on their head. Yeah. I think if you're talking about 60, 70 million quid for Declan Rice... He's not worth that money. I think he's worth 50 maximum. If you could get him for 50 million quid, I would welcome... Do you know what? At any point, I'd welcome him to Old Trafford because I think he's a great player. But there are less expensive... less expensive options out there.
Yeah.
That was really good tackle by Wan-Bissaka there.
What do you make of Declan Rice, Adam? Because you've really gone sort of up and down on him over the last 2 years, haven't you?
I don't think he was ever worth... My main issue... was one, I used to think he was overrated, yes, which I don't think so anymore. Right. I think he's a little bit... I don't think he's as good as Carrick, but I think he's a little bit in the Carrick mode where until you maybe watch him at a game or watch him closely, you don't really see the good things that he brings to a team. And I think I overlooked that I think you'd have the benefit of him being Premier League proven, being ready to go with the Premier League, the relationship with Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw. I think that would help. The main issue for me would be price. And you're looking at 60, 70, 80, 90 million pounds, some of the prices. Yeah. I actually think 60 million is probably fair. Or it's probably not right, but you could probably justify it. Do you know what I mean, though? It's like, if you have him for 10 years, 6 million a year, is it that bad? It's the equivalent. Is it the equivalent to when we bought, like, Rio for 30? And I know Rio was world-class defender in the end, but... Like, and everyone said that was mad at the time. But eventually, when you get them for 10 years, it's like, who cares? But Wan-Bissaka for 50 million, is he worth that? No. But if you have him for 10 years, he is.
But the minute that you start spending that much money on these players, you set a precedent that I think we are only just now starting to get out of. So I think that when we tried to buy Sancho, I think our past dealings in overspending for Maguire, overspending for Wan-Bissaka is the
that's a great point.
That we only got Sancho this season rather than last season. And we can't be seen to be a club that will overspend by 20 million quid just because we need someone. Now, my thing is 70 million, let's just say 70 million quid for Declan Rice, or 30 million for Neves, 30 million for Bissouma. You could probably get Calvin Phillips for 30 million quid. And I don't think there was much difference between them at the Euros. I'm just thinking, is it worth it?
I always think...
Jesse!
I just think as well with Rice, and I've said this before, but what is he a 9 out of 10 at currently? What qualities is he 9 out of 10 at?
But similarly, what is he bad at?
Well, no, but for his position, for that sort of money...
I think 9 out of 10 he is...
What's 9 out of 10?
His reading of the game is very good at times.
Right.
In terms of his anticipation and his interception.
Okay.
And I think his ability and his recovery in terms of... So when he pushes forward, he can get back to help protect defences, which I think could be good for a team like United. But I mean...
That's just my main concern.
A lot of the time he plays, and I think... You could use this with your point. He plays with another guy in a 4-2-3-1.
Exactly.
Whether that's a Calvin Phillips or a Thomas Souček.
Yeah.
So you could bring that argument there. But anyway, we're dragging on now with this topic. There's so many different midfielders out there.
Yeah.
We're talking Declan Rice. We're talking, Yves Bissouma, Wilfred Ndidi. We're talking Saul. We're talking Camavinga. In a word, used to, who's the 6 that you want? Or who's the midfielder you want?
Camavinga.
Pogba's staying, you want Camavinga.
Let's
say Pogba's staying.
Pogba stay?
Pogba isn't in this conversation.
Okay.
Because this is just a holding midfielder.
If Pogba stays, Camavinga.
Ndidi.
Yeah.
I would go with Freddie, Camavinga. Although, I wouldn't be totally against getting rid of a Matic and then adding a Neves in there as well.
Totally.
If we keep Pogba. Because
me too.
We need extra.
If we don't keep Pogba... Totally different conversation, and then I think you start to talk about Saul.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
I think that myself, and again, I mentioned this before, losing Pogba, but also losing the McFred partnership in the middle and having Donny van der Beek and Saul is strengthening the team.
Defo. Right, we'll save that one if Pogba goes for another day, because especially after the picture we've just seen of Varane and Pogba having a little chin.
I know, what's that about?
He's staying! Get your comments in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe.